There are several different ways of repurposing content with InDesign documents or even between separate documents. And these are the features we will be talking about here. First, let's start with InDesign snippets. There is something you can use on single elements or even on a combination of elements. An interesting thing about snippet is that it is going to be an individual self-contained file. So if you have, let's say, a couple of elements like this text frame, select both of these icon, and you want to use that in other documents or repurpose within the same document, then you can go to the file menu and you can choose export, and in here you can give InDesign snippet. I'm going to save this to the same location where it came from. So from here, and it's going to click save right now. Now it is saved, and I can go to a new page here, and I can choose file place or Control D to place, and go to my exercise and styles. Here I had my snippets, all files, and here I had a snippet. I think I saved it in the wrong location. Let me just check again. So to click here, select this, go to file, export, and here in styles, InDesign markup snippet. It's there in the right location. Okay, let's go to the new page, file place, and in the styles, it's not showing a snippet. Maybe I'll just particularly use this one snippet. Okay, it is showing now. Right. So I'll just give open. Now it is loaded to my place gun. Now I can click here. I can immediately reuse all the elements that we included in that selection. Because I'm in the same document, it is not as impressive because this document already has all the styles and settings. What if I create a new document which I might even have different orientation and size? Let's say I need a snippet in here. Let's say just create a new document, millimeters, create, and we can do the exact same thing with placing it here. I'm going to click on here, file place, choose a snippet from this, click, open, click. As you can see, it came out right like it was before. Not only the snippet will be placed here, but also the styles will be imported from that, and document will be automatically imported at the same time. As you can see, we have our paragraph styles and character styles like we had before. Just to prove it, if you remember from the styles, we had this Dorset switches to, the word Dorset will switch to a different character style like Dorset, and it automatically changed because we assigned a grep function. Just to clarify, the snippet have multiple frames, like here the text frame, and that's an image frame we have connected here. They were connected in the snippet file as well. The icon has the object style as well. You have to make sure you want to use a snippet on another computer also. Export and have the fonts necessary for it to work without showing missing fonts. Snippets are very useful time savers, especially if you have clients returning with the same type of work. For instance, a magazine with monthly issues, and then working with snippet will be extremely beneficial for you. Now, this is not the only way you can repurpose content. We can also work and create with libraries. Now, libraries is a little bit more complex way of repurposing elements. Within the same document or throughout several InDesign documents, then working with snippets. And this feature is available in older versions of InDesign as well, unlike a very similarly named feature called CC libraries or Creative Cloud libraries, which only be available, of course, in InDesign CC. Now, that's a feature we'll discuss later, but we're going to look at the authentic libraries options. So the way this works is that you need to go to the File menu and go to New, and here you have the libraries options. So it almost starts as a new document, but then you will be notified about the CC libraries options, whether you want to try them out. I'm just gonna go say no, because I would like to explore the old version of library file. And I'm gonna save this as a library. Once you save it, it comes up as a panel now. You can dock it to here and next to here. Okay. So this is the panels that we created, which is actually going to store the file on the computer, but currently it's empty. So it doesn't have anything inside it. Well, let's just see what happens if I start dragging and dropping items into it. Say if I select this icon, click on here and click and drag, you add it here. It immediately adds as a new graphic, and we can call this maybe Coast Castle. And change the object type to, let's decide this as an image. Give OK. So it's most likely best to be saved as image. If I go to another page, let's say here, I'll just click and drag, and that item will be added again. Once again, I'm going to double click here. I'm going to rename this as leaf and change the object type to image as well and give OK. Let's see at another page, and maybe this one. Click and drag, double click here, and I'm going to call this a beach. Change the object type to image and give OK. So I'm going to save this one now. Click and drag. Name this as house. And I'm going to save this as image and give OK. Now, it is not just limited to adding images as well. You can also add a text frame and drop it in, just like I did with the icons. Click and drag, and there I have my text frame there. I'll just type in as text. So if you want to access additional options from the library panel, like placing the selected item into, or placing all the items into current page, you can access it from here, and it will be available when I go to a new document. So when I switch to an empty document like this, let's just go ahead. I can click and drag, and quickly you can see the items showing up just the way they were in the previous document. If I want, I could even click here and place all the items on page 1 of page, add items as separate objects, or I could just simply drag and drop items like so. Now you can even update library items. For example, this castle icon. I want this to be turned upside down, so hold shift, turn this upside down, and right click on this. You update library item, and immediately you will see the castle icon has been turned upside down in the library panel as well. So I have a lot of items. If I have a lot of items within the library, I could just click on show library subset and choose type of item, say object type, image, and give OK, and I will see only images. Or I could look for the text. Just go ahead in here, maybe just change this to text, and now I see only the text in my library panel, and so on and so forth. Now if you want to see all the items again, I just need to use show all from this drop down, and if I accidentally close this panel, because don't worry, your changes that you have done in the library will be saved automatically. Next time you open it up, you will have all those elements ready to work with. But unlike other panels, you would not find this in Windows menu. You have to start opening it like a normal document. Like we need to go to File, Open, and then find a library and give Open. So it comes back as a panel. Now in the past, we used to create libraries for most of the clients and include all the necessary elements that will be repeated throughout their projects, like the logos, any additional branding items, photographs that might need to be used again and again, and also text frames and formatting that applies to their projects. But since InDesign Creative Cloud has its own CC libraries feature, I tend to use that instead of the traditional library option. As I mentioned, we will be exploring that later. And for those who have older versions of InDesign, you will have to stick to using this traditional way of setting up libraries. Now we'll be looking at how to save InDesign templates. So in the beginning, we set up a trifold brochure example like this one. You can also remember we saved this as an InDesign file. Now if you want to save this document as a template, which can help you repurpose a more complex document setup without accidentally overwriting your original file. It happens quite often that you start using your templates in InDesign, and then you had a document and had to create an exact same version of that for another client, and maybe it's just a slight amendment, but you still needed to keep the original one, so two separate versions. And because if you open the original one and then started amending that, and at the end if you just accidentally hit file save, then you will lose all the original information. So to avoid that mistake, you have to set up this as an important format, like a trifold brochure. Here all the settings you have here are the best repurposed by saving it now not as the InDesign document, but by saving as a template file, which you can find from the format options. Now once we need to save this file as InDesign, instead that we will save this as a INDT, that is an InDesign template. We will be saving this in the same folder. Let me just save this. It is going to ask me to overwrite because I already earlier created a template here. I'll just go ahead and give a yes. Now if I close the document this here, now if I open and then go to this trifold example, that is the INDT InDesign template document, and give open. Once I have opened this up that I had in the document, it opens up as an untitled document, and that is the key. So this allows me to avoid overwriting the original file that the one serves as a template. Now if I go and file save, file save, it is immediately going to ask me what name and which location I would like to save this file. That's another time save feature, and we'll be now looking at the content collector tool. There is a very clever feature called content collector tool. It was introduced in Creative Cloud version of InDesign. It is almost like an advanced way of copy pasting items. Once again, it is a way of repurposing elements within the same document or throughout the InDesign documents, and the shortcut to access this tool is B. Once you press this B, you will have this tool activated. In here, within the toolbar, you have two options here. The one is content collector and one is content grabber placer. So it's almost like the state of this feature, in which you is either collecting items or placing items. So when I'm collecting mode, I can click on anything on the document and start placing them on the panel or tray. I'll just click on this. I'll just go ahead and click and place it throughout the panel. I'll just undo these steps. I'll go to content placer, and then I'm going to check on the create link in case if this is off. Click on this, and you will have a relation between the original object and the duplicate one. So if I keep this on and start collecting these items, then I'll go to the last page, create a new page, and here I can now use the placer tool. Currently I'm in the collector tool. I'll just go placer, and here if I choose this option, that is place, remove from the conveyor, and then load next. If I choose this option and then click, and as you can see, I can also click and drag and define the area that I want to place into, and click and drag again, and then click and drag. So once again, I'm going to just undo these and load them back into the conveyor. So what option this did was placed once and then it forgot about it. Next we have place multiple and keep on the conveyor. If you want to keep these objects within the conveyor and maybe use it for multiple times in different pages or documents, then you can use this option, place multiple and keep on conveyor. Here I can just place it like so, and maybe go to the new document like here. Okay, and I can place it here as well. So I can also toggle between objects using my arrow keys. Click on, I'm using my right arrow key, and there I have changed the object. Next I will have the text and the object as well. So I can keep multiple objects using this option. I'm just going to go ahead and undo these and delete this one as well. Next I have an option that's place, keep in conveyor, and then load next. So if I want InDesign to automatically load the next one after placing the one single instance like this, notice how it is coming in the reverse direction. Flipping it out, I'm just going to use the back key. So here, just once you place that, it will load the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. So if you want to go in a sequence, then you can click this option on, or you could just manually select one of these and keep these options on, and depending on your requirement, you will choose any of these options. So that is one smart way to copy and paste elements throughout the InDesign document between multiple pages or multiple documents.